Richard Petty, a 7-time NASCAR Cup Series champion, has long been considered a racing expert. However, he recently turned to social media to propose a simple solution to the problems plaguing superspeedway racing. What was his response? More horsepower is exactly what we've been waiting for, and in a way, he is correct. In a video posted on his official X account, Petty said, "The way to make them more exciting is to give them more horsepower and let them run faster. The faster they run, the more the driver has to stay on his toes." He emphasized that increasing speed would require drivers to be more alert and focused, adding, "When you get cars running 200 miles per hour instead of 185 miles per hour, all the drivers are not capable of running that speed that close to each other. That's the first thing to really separate the cars because that's how it used to be." Petty's comments come after years of criticism of the current generation of stock cars, which frequently form tight clusters on the track. These clusters can produce massive collisions, like the one involving Ryan Preece at the 2025 Daytona 500. When cars are built to go faster, say 200 miles per hour instead of 185, it becomes much more difficult for all drivers to control, especially when racing so close together. The increased speed distinguishes drivers from autos. Not everyone can maintain that level, and the best begin to distinguish themselves from the rest. It reminds me of how racing used to be, when speed and talent truly distinguished the best racers. The 2025 Daytona 500 was very insane. Ryan Preece, racing for RFK Racing, clashed with Christopher Bell on Stage 3 and went airborne in a surprise flip. This was not the first time Preece had witnessed such a dreadful incident. In 2023, he flipped on the same track during the Coke Zero Sugar 400. The Preece's frustration was palpable following the incident. He said, "We keep beating on a door hoping for a different result, and we know where there's a problem at superspeedways. Something needs to be done because cars are lifting off the ground like that. Everything about that, airborne, heading toward the fence, it's not a good place to be in." Preece's crash was only one of many during the chaotic Daytona 500, demonstrating the race's unpredictability and danger. This year's race saw 35 of 41 vehicles collide, the most number of accidents since 2019. Last weekend's race also witnessed several huge impacts. The high number of accidents has caused concern among drivers, teams, and safety experts about the design and durability of NASCAR's next-generation vehicles. While next-gen automobiles were developed to increase competition and cut prices, others are concerned that they may not absorb impacts as well as previous models, putting drivers at risk. Many claim that the vehicle's hard build, while enhancing performance, has resulted in more severe crashes and injuries. Furthermore, some drivers have raised concern about the car's performance in high-speed pack racing, where close-quarters competition raises the potential of multi-car pileups. Richard Petty is not alone in his call for change. Denny Hamlin, a 3-time Daytona 500 winner, has raised concern about the next G car's low horsepower. Hamlin feels that this has made it more difficult for automobiles to overtake one another, resulting in more accidents. He said, "I feel like the Daytona 500 is a microcosm of the sport in general. We took away horsepower because we wanted to look good on TV but not to actually pass." Petty and Hamlin's perspective echoes a growing debate in NASCAR. Are the current cars too slow, and is the lack of horsepower making races more dangerous? The next G vehicles, which debuted in 2022, were anticipated to revolutionize NASCAR, but many, notably Richard Petty, critiqued their performance. Petty once said, "If somebody pulls out, they have to have help because they don't have any horsepower. You pull out of line and go forward, then the next lap 14 cars come back by, and you're still running wide open." This lack of horsepower has led to aggressive and risky racing, with drivers frequently risking everything to gain an advantage. While this makes for exciting television, it also increases the likelihood of a wreck. So, what happens next in superspeedway racing? Richard Petty's need for more horsepower has sparked intense debate. Fans and racers alike are asking if NASCAR will take anything to address these issues. Petty's solution is simple: give them more horsepower and let them run faster. But will NASCAR listen to King? Only time will tell. Richard Petty's heated statements stunned the NASCAR community. His call for greater horsepower and faster vehicles reignited the discussion about the future of superspeedway racing. Will NASCAR take steps to make races safer and more exciting, or will the chaos continue? Richard Petty's voice will undoubtedly remain a guiding force in the world of racing. He used the expression, "The faster they run, the more the driver has to stay on his toes. And maybe it's just what NASCAR needs right now. Aside from the horsepower debate, this period in NASCAR history represents a crossroads. Does the sport prioritize safety over spectacle, or does it strike a balance between maintaining the intensity and safeguarding the drivers? Petty, Hamlin, and many fans believe that increasing horsepower may be the key to doing both. After all, NASCAR's golden era was characterized by high speeds, skill, and stakes. Maybe it's time to go back to our roots. However, the problem is not only about what is best for the sport, it also affects NASCAR's business operations. More speeds mean more hazards, which may cause concern among sponsors, manufacturers, and safety officials. NASCAR's leadership must carefully evaluate these concerns before making any significant modifications. However, history has taught us that Richard Petty's theories must be regarded seriously. The King's words has weight. His knowledge, accomplishments, and legacy shaped NASCAR into what it is today. And when he speaks, people listen. It's uncertain if NASCAR officials will take his words seriously. But one thing is certain, the fight over horsepower, speed, and safety is not over. Fans, drivers, and teams will be watching closely to see if any changes are made before the next major event. So, will NASCAR return the raw power that defined its most memorable races? Will they give drivers the tools they need to separate the best from the rest? Or will they remain with controlled pack racing, in which each move is a calculated risk, much like a high-speed chess match? One thing is certain, Richard Petty will not back down. His message is simple: give them more horsepower and let them run faster. Whether NASCAR listens or not, the King has spoken, and his words will shape the debate for years to come. As NASCAR approaches a tipping point, the debate over horsepower and speed is about more than just engineering and regulations. It is about the sport's core character. Richard Petty's need for more horsepower evokes a time when racing was raw, exciting, and savage. It was a time when the fastest drivers were legendary, not only for their skill, but also for their ambition to push the envelope. However, this raises an important question. What do you, the fans, want to see in the future of NASCAR? Do you miss the fast-paced, high-stakes races that separated the great from the good? Or do you believe that safety and control should come first, even if it results in less excitement on the track? Richard Petty's vision is clear. He believes in challenging the drivers, giving them the opportunity to race and prove their value. However, with increased authority comes greater responsibility and risk. Is the thrill of seeing drivers on the edge worth the risk? Would you rather watch crazy, reckless racing or subtle, calculated maneuvers in a pack? The conversation does not stop with horsepower. It has a significant impact on NASCAR's overall culture. Do we want a sport that showcases speed and talent in its most raw form? Or do we want a spectacle that is safe and predictable for television viewers? Are today's drivers given the opportunity to prove themselves, or are they merely performers in a produced show? NASCAR's decision makers are listening, but they must hear from the sport's most important voices, you, the fans. This is your chance to help shape the future of racing. What type of NASCAR do you want to watch? What kind of legacy should this generation of drivers leave behind? Imagine a world where the sound of vehicles is louder, the speed is incredible, and each pass is a gamble with fate. Consider the consequences, the crashes, the risks, and the safety considerations that come with them. Which vision resonates with you more? As NASCAR moves forward, one thing is clear. The sport is at a crossroads, and today's actions will have long-term consequences. So, what will it be? Will the sport revert to its roots of speed and daring, or will it grow into a safer, more regulated future? The King has spoken. Now it is your turn. Where do you stand in this debate? Most importantly, where would you like NASCAR to go next? Your excitement, voice, and vision will contribute to the future of racing.